Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, class, and good afternoon to all those individuals or all those who would be watching at this video or this short clip. Before I go further, let me introduce myself. My name is Jamal X. I am a pre-service teacher at the CPCE and I am majoring in agriculture. I was tasked by the lecturer to carry out a very small activity or a very small task. This task is basically a germination method task. It's more of a task whereas you use simple household items to germinate seed. And the aim or the purpose of this little experiment or this little activity is to determine seed viability, or we should say the germination rate or germination percentage. So basically what you are going to be seeing in this video is a basic technique that I'm going to be using to germinate some seeds. If I take the phone here, I can show you guys the method that I would be using to carry out this activity. Basically, I'm going to be using the baggy method, but instead of using the bag, I'm going to be using simple sanitary cups, plastic cups, along with some cotton wools, some scotch tape. I have the actual seed and a notebook along with a pen, and you need some water to carry out this activity. So before I go forward, I'm just gonna show you guys the materials that I'm gonna be using to carry out this experiment. So if you look in front of me here, you're gonna see I have some seeds. These are the borer seeds that I would be using to carry out the germination test. These are the sample cups that I'm gonna be using here. These are the cups. We have some cotton wools here. These are gonna be the materials that the seed is gonna be placed into for germination. I have my notebook that I'm going to be using to record the information. I have a scotch tape here. The scotch tape is going to be used to paste on the labels on each cup. I'm going to be carrying out an experiment here using 10 samples, which is going to be sample 1 to sample 10. And we have some water, which is the main factor. So water is life, and the plants also need it. It's life for the plant, so we need the water to carry out the germination test. And also, if you can look here, I have a batch of seeds. So I need to select 10 seeds from this particular batch. So what I'm gonna be doing is that I'm gonna select these seeds using a knife. So let me just show you how I'm gonna actually carry out this experiment here. So back to it, we have a batch of seeds here. So I don't want to just select 10 random seeds from this batch, because we're humans, and sometimes what will happen is that we're gonna want to select the best. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna divide these seeds here in two sections, just for me not to be biased. So if you look here, let me put a phone. I'm going to be dividing these seeds into two different parts. So I have two sets of seeds here. So I'm going to be dividing it again. I'm going to divide there. I'm going to divide there. So I wouldn't be biased. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to separate these here. I'm going to separate these seeds here because I only need 10 seeds. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to mix it up again. I'm going to mix it up just to prevent any form of biasness. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select 10 seeds. I'm not going to look at them and pick them out, but I'm just going to select 10 without looking at them. So I'm starting to select my 10. I'm selecting 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seeds, 6 seeds, 7 seeds, 8 seeds, 9 seeds, and final seed, 10 seed. So these are the 10 seeds that I have selected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have selected my 10 seeds. So these 10 seeds here is what I'm going to be working with. So I have 10 sample cups here. As you can see, I have 10 sample cups here. So I'm going to place 1 seed in each cups along with the cotton wool inside. So what I'm going to do, I have the cotton wool here. I'm going to place each seed in a cotton wool. So I have 1 seed here. As you can see, I have 1 seed here. So I'm going to place this in container A. So here is container A. I'm going to be placing it in there. I'm going to do the same, repeat the procedure for all 10 cups. So let me gather all the cotton wools. 2, 3. So 1 there. 2, 3. So let me go. That's the second cup. Third cup. Fourth cup. Alright. Fifth cup. Sixth cup. It's gonna be my 7th cup. It's gonna be 8th cup. 9th cup here. And final cup. So my final cup. So all the sample cups, as you can see here, have a seed inside. So let's go. You have, let me start from the first. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 cups there. So, and each cup is gonna get a label from label A, as you can see here, to label G, which is 10 labels for each cup. So each cups is gonna have their own labels. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna pour some water into the cup. I have some water here, so I'm gonna pour some water into each cup. I'm not gonna pour a little, I'm just gonna pour a little. I'm not gonna pour a lot, I'm just gonna pour just a few drops so that the cotton wool would have enough moisture to trigger germination. So let me go. Just a little bit there. Just a little bit here. Alright. Put some here. Put some there. Alright, some there. We need a little here. Put a little here. And a little there. So as you can see, I have poured water into all 10 cups. So basically what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna give these things some time and check them back to see at what particular day germination would start taking place, or which day they would normally start pushing a root. So I'm gonna leave these right here. As you can see, they're next to the window. They're gonna have air, access to air, and so they have enough light, which is basically triggers them and help to stimulate or trigger germination. So as you can see here, I have all the cups here. What I'm gonna do now is that every day I'm gonna continue checking them. So as they keep germinating, I'm gonna give you an update as to how many seeds have been germinated. So at the end of this exercise, as I said, the purpose is that we're determining the viability of seed or germination test. So at the end, we're gonna calculate the germination rate of this experiment here. So basically what the germination rate is, we want to find out how many seeds burst out. So there is actually a formula to calculate germination rate. So the formula for this particular process here to calculate germination rate is basically we're gonna find out how many seeds have germinated. So that's one. The number of seeds germinated, we're gonna divide it by the total number of seeds that we used in the experiment, and we're gonna multiply that by 100, and it's gonna give us our germination rate. So for example, let's say 10 seeds, all 10 seeds have been germinated. What would be our germination rate? So it's basically gonna be 100% success. So that's it for now, guys. As you can see here, this is my experiment here. I'm gonna keep you guys updated as to the different stages and the progress of development or germination. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Good morning, sir. Good morning to all the viewers who will or who would be looking at this video here. I am back for the second phase, or I should say the last phase of my experiment. If you guys can remember, in the first phase of the experiment, I actually explained or give you guys an insight of what my experiment was about. So just a recap from it, I did an experiment conducting uh, a germination test or viability test of borer seed, and I have used 10 samples to complete my research. So this phase here, this final phase, is basically me presenting my findings or my results from the experiment that I did. Basically, my experiment, it started on the 14th of November 2025, and today is the 20th of November 2025. So basically within the period, if you can calculate it, it's going to be 6 days. So I am here with my results from the experiment, which is the seed germination test. If you can look here, you're going to see the results from my experiment. Basically, I have 10 samples, which I label each cups from letter A to letter G. There's 10 samples. I used 10 seeds, and I placed one seed in each cup. What you're gonna see later in the video is some pictures of the different stages of germination, or the different stages of where the seed has been germinated. And as you can see here, out of the 10 samples, I have managed to have 3 seeds germinated so far out of the 10. 3 seeds burst out, and the others, they didn't burst out. So you have, this is sample F, cup F. As you can see here, the borer seed has been germinated. This plant is apparently 6 days old, and if you can look inside here, you can see development of the root, a well-established root, and you can see some water in here along with the cotton wool. To add to that, you have sample E, which is also germinated and have a well-developed root system here. This plant is about, let me average, is about 8 to 9 inches long, both of them, and they're just 6 days old. A reason for this elongation of this stem, that I believe it's because of sunlight, lacking of adequate sunlight. So you would find the plant growing in a sort of way, or positioning itself in a way where it can access sunlight, or where the light is coming from. Let's say, for example, this sun is on the eastern side. You would find the plant trying to grow along that way so that it can have enough sunlight. If you look to my left here, this is sample D. If you look here, you're gonna see a seed that has developed a shoot. So if you look in the other cups, you can see that no germination took place. So there is a few reasons that can actually cause these seeds not to germinate, and I'm going to explain some of these reasons to you. One factor or reason that can cause the seed from not germinating, you can have environmental factors, right? um, Such environmental factors, it can be due to inadequate light. um, you can have the temperature, maybe the temperature of the environment, it can be too high or maybe extremely too low. You can also have oxygen availability, whereas there's limited oxygen in the atmosphere, depending on where you store this seed. Other reasons that can impact or prevent germination from occurring, it can be due to physical damage of the seed, it can be from a diseased seed, it can be improper storage of the seed, it can be the age of the seed. Like for example, let me say you have the seeds for too long, about 2-3 years, you might find the seed gonna lose its viability because it's too old. Other reason can be genetic factor, and so forth. So basically, this is my results from my experiment that I've completed. This particular experiment, it took me 6 days to have this type of result. So I'm assuming, seems that we have a late germination taking place here with sample D. I'm assuming that to some extent you may have other seeds germinating at a later time, or maybe a few days from now. But as you can see here, this is my results from my experiment. In addition to this too, um, what we need to do, seems that it's an experiment and it's a germination test we're conducting. You need to find out what's your germination rate, or you want to know how your seeds burst out, or what's the percentage. So basically you need to calculate your germination rate. And how are you going to go about calculating your germination rate? How are you going to do that? So basically there's a formula for calculating germination rate. Let me turn back the camera so that you can see my face. Yes, I'm here. So basically there is a formula that you can use to calculate germination rate. So what is the formula? Basically the formula is the number of seeds germinated or burst out divided by the total number of seeds sown, or the number of seeds you use to plant. You multiply that by 100. So basically in my experiment, let's just do the calculation here. So basically in my experiment here, as you can see here, I have 10 samples. So to calculate the germination rate, we basically use the number of seeds germinated, which is 3 seeds, 1, 2, 3. We're going to use those 3 seeds, we're going to divide it by 10 times 100. So let me just turn the camera so that you guys can follow up on what I'm doing here. So basically I have my workbook with me here, and I'm gonna go about doing the calculation. So the germination rate, germination, germination rate is basically the number of seeds germinated divided by total number of seeds sown multiplied by 100. So basically in my experiment I have three seeds germinated. So I'm going to take this tree and I'm going to divide it by the total number of seeds that I use, which is 10 seeds. So I'm going to write 10 here, and I'm going to multiply it by 100, because remember we're dealing with percentage. So basically, let's do the math. We cancel off this 0 with this 0. And we have 3 by 10. It's going to give us 10 3s 30. So we have 30 over 1, which is 30%. So we have 30% germination rate. So the question is 30% good enough? Is 30% good enough to be considered as a good germination rate, or is it not good? So 30% germination rate. 30% germination rate is a very, very low germination rate. So we wouldn't accept a germination rate of 30%. What it therefore means is that you need to have fresh seeds, or you need to replace the entire batch of seeds, because the viability of it is very poor. We need to have new seeds. So basically, this is my entire experiment in a nutshell, and I can conclude that my experiment was a successful one, even though the germination rate was a very low germination rate. So what I can say is that not because you have a poor germination rate, it means that your experiment is a failure. Know that it's an experiment, meaning that sometimes you may get some results in terms of your favor, whereas you might have some unfavorable results. But as I said before, it is an experiment. So there can be room for improvement in future. So basically, this is the end of my experiment. I hope, sir, I hope it was, you understand the message and the steps that I outlined to you. I hope it was clear. I hope it was precise. So basically, that's how I'm gonna conclude my test, to say that my germination rate, which is a low germination rate, but I am proud to say that I am very much pleased and satisfied with my results. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I will attach some pictures with the different stages of germination along in my video. So once again, sir, thank you for watching, and you can feel free to ask me any questions if you have any difficulty pertaining to my experiment. So once again, thank you, and have a blessed and wonderful day. Bye.